Hello, my name is Sherry Harvat, and this is my interpersonal communication project for Human Services Counseling 508. Based on the Quindium and Uniquely You personality type assessments, I am an SC or a CS for the Uniquely You, which means that I tend to be more reserved, passive, prefer one-on-one communication, security-oriented. I am a natural peacemaker, quiet, and compliant. The Quindium results suggested that I may be empathetic to others' problems and issues in life. Based on those responses, I have determined my overreaching goal to be based on assertiveness, a willing to share my opinions with others, being more open to overcome the shyness, and to be more willing to self-disclose, desire to be open and honest in all of my relationships. Assertiveness basically means that I am willing to express my views clearly and confidently. I tend to overthink and overprocess things. I want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about before I say something, and that doesn't always go well in relationships and communication, so I'm hoping to try to work and rectify that. Openness, willing to disclose my life experiences, prior history, views and opinions, just being sort of the open the book that we all say that we are. And then work on self-disclosure, which is being comfortable with being exposed. I am not comfortable being the center of attention, and I am not comfortable when it comes to being the open book, and I need to work on those things. Assertiveness, Stewart defines assertiveness as a behavior of prompting equality in human relationships. Equality in human relationships. That means that if I expect somebody to do a certain thing, then I need to be willing to do the same thing. If I expect somebody to be open and honest with me, then I need to, in return, be open and honest with them. Galatians 5:1 says that we should stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ has set us free. We have the freedom to speak and to communicate effectively, and the only way that we're going to do that is to assert ourselves and take hold. Openness. Stewart also states that openness has two sides. It is a reciprocal process. We must be open with other people and open to them. That means that I must be willing to self-disclose and to talk, but that I must be open to their opinions and suggestions. Philippians 4 says that by prayer let our requests be made known to God, who shall keep our hearts and our minds through Jesus Christ. That is an example of a reciprocal relationship. By praying, I am letting my needs be made known to God, and by being open to Him, my heart and my mind open to Him, I am allowing Him to perform the work that He wishes. Self-disclosure enables us and other people to get to know one another better. It is a focus that is on the present, not the past. We focus on now, not things that have happened in years prior, or not what is going to come. It is in the now. Reactions to people and events include the feelings as well as the facts. So communication is not solely factual. It is also emotional. It has a dimension. It has two dimensions. It has a breadth and a depth. We must be willing to go both ways to expand our horizons in both senses of the word. And it needs to be reciprocal. That means that I need to give as well as I receive. How history has influenced my conversation in a negative way? I'm very security-oriented. Some people would say that that's trust issues, and I absolutely do have trust issues. If something happens that I don't agree with, or that something is disclosed by accident, if I know about it, I will not disclose any more information to you or to that person. I definitely want to know that what I say stays where I intend it to. I also have a hard time when it comes to small talk. I don't do small talk well. I I don't see the need for it. I prefer to talk about facts and more informational things rather than just the weather. I think the weather and other things like that gets kind of boring. Confrontations, I really try not to do confrontations, which is not a good thing because you cannot grow. The relationship will not grow unless there is some confrontation. I enjoy satiety, I enjoy calm, and I do not like disagreements. History has influenced my conversation in some positive ways too. I have the ability to say what I mean, just in a polite manner when I choose to. I also have the ability to listen well. If I'm busy and somebody is in need of something, I can stop what I'm doing and I can focus on that person because they are in front of me and they are more important than the job that I may be performing. I am also not terribly ruled by emotions. I use my intellect and my knowledge to help me solve problems and to provide information to those who may need help. Security-oriented, I believe that there is a time to every purpose. Why did I take this interpersonal communication course now? Because I need to grow. And it is time for me to let go of some of the tools and the bags that are holding me back in my communication. Along with security-oriented, I like to play it safe. As I said, if I feel that the person is not trustworthy, I will not engage with them. I prefer systematic approaches. Basically, if you can give me a rule or a task or an outline of something that needs to be finished, I can do that and I can succeed. However, the problem comes in where communication does not have a written set of guidelines and rules for every scenario. And so it's learning how to, talk off your collar, kind of, so to speak. For many people, however, my family and my friends, I tend to be the rock because I am emotionally secure and I can control my thoughts and I will give them good based information. I try to look at a situation from all angles, which is why it takes me so long to reach a decision of what I want to do. I don't want to lead anybody in the wrong direction. Proverbs 28:5 says, "But they that seek the Lord understandeth all things." And I definitely take my time because I want to understand the situation that is going on in my life and the lives of my friends. However, being as analytical as I am, I have the ability to lack enthusiasm whenever it comes to different things. They may consider me boring because I am so controlled over my behavior and emotions. However, I am competent. I can formulate a plan and I can stick to it. I'm a very good support system if somebody is in need because I am emotionally stable and I am very calm and easy to be around. I'm methodical and orderly. I have an attention to detail. I want to make sure that things are done right. I am at times easily influenced. I may know what to do, but if somebody comes along and they can justify their reasoning, I may be prompted to change my opinion. And that is both internal and external. My emotions, I can control my emotions and see how they control their emotions, and based on what I see, I will change my opinion, which is not a good thing. It means that I can be a follower. I am submissive because I have been taught since the time I was a little girl that nice girls don't do conflict. That is something that we were raised in. You try to get along with everybody. I am a peacemaker. I strive for stability and security to the point that I will internalize my own issues for the sake of the relationship. However, I am very, very loyal. Noise pollution. I tend to be judgmental and hold on to things. And untruthful. If you ask me if I'm mad, I may say, know when I am actually steaming inside, which is unfair to both people because then the issue is never resolved. The truth does matter. Honesty is the key, as told by Theobald and Cooper. External noise pollutions are interruptions from my family or the phone. How do I exclude those? I turn my cell phone off, for one. Family interruptions, if need be, I will go for a ride with the person that I'm trying to communicate with. And I would like to improve on communicating or concentrating on the conversation. So concentrate on concentrating, as suggested by Burley and Allen. My action plan, first and foremost, is to identify the flat brain itis, which is the stomach where your emotions are held. Then it inflates and it goes up into your chest where it flattens your heart, and your heart turns into a brick because you're unable to feel at that point. From then, our heart is connected to our brain, and so when our heart flattens, so does our brain, and that means that we cannot think clearly. Our eyes begin to bulge from the brain, and our eardrums do, which means that we cannot see and we cannot hear. We cannot see what the person is saying, and we cannot hear and understand what they are saying. To me, identification of flat brainitis is the first and foremost, most important thing in communication, and that was by Peterson. My action plan continued is to step out of my comfort zone. It's really hard, which I have tried, and I do try on a daily basis to try something new. That is my life motto. I want to try something today that I would have never have done yesterday. Lose self-references, realizing that conversation is not about me. Conversation is about, and communication is about the other person. So instead of placing the emphasis on me, by using statements like, I always, I never, I want to keep it placed on them. Also, statements like always and never are very absolute. There's no room for error. There's no room for the gray areas of life. Be aware of my non-verbals is another thing that I would like to be aware of. 55% of communication is constructed with eye contact, gestures, and facial expressions. I need to be aware of how I'm being shown to people with my facial expressions. Mindfulness is being present in the moment. As defined by Stewart, it connects us with the experience. It's being present and there. I want to make sure that I decode messages correctly when people are communicating with me. Use statements like, I believe this is what you said. And if need to be, when I'm not getting what they are saying, I need to go ahead and interrupt them. It is not unpolite to interrupt them and ask for clarification. Also, in a heated moment, since I do not do well in conflict, numbering feelings would be very, very helpful to me. It would provide clarification for the person as well as me. Thank you. This has been my presentation for interpersonal communication, Human Services Counseling 508.